that took place today in Tura, outside the CM Secretariat and the Commissioner of Division's office, is indeed very, very unfortunate.
A mob attacked the office of Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma on Monday, which left 5 security personnel injured while the CM was unhurt. The incident took place after hundreds of people gathered outside the CM's office and started throwing stones. 5 security personnel were injured in the attack and were brought inside Sangma's office. This happened as the Chief Minister was holding a key meeting with the protesting civil bodies, including the Achik, GHSMC, among others. The discussion went on for over 3 hours in his office. Amid this, a crowd in huge numbers gathered outside the compound and started their agitation. The mob also pelted stones and hit the windows of the office. The civil bodies, which were meeting with the CM, said they had nothing to do with this and that the mob were not their people. In retaliation, the police fired tear gas shells to disperse the collected crowd. At least 5 security personnel have sustained injuries till now in the fight. The situation has been brought under control but remains very tense, the Chief Minister's office said in a comment. Sangma had invited all organizations that were on a hunger strike for a detailed discussion on winter capital and job reservation in presence of other cabinet ministers and stakeholders. Garo Hills-based civil society groups have been on a hunger strike demanding for a winter capital in Tura. In the meeting, Sangma appealed to the protesting organizations to call off their strike and come forward for discussion. Visuals show the injured security personnel lying on the floor while Mr. Sangma tends to them. While Mr. Sangma is safe, he is unable to get out of the office as the protesters have blocked the access road. Discussions were going on. We had already agreed to meet in Shillong to further discuss the matter with all stakeholders, and the NGOs seemed more or less satisfied. A majority of the society and NGOs were not a part of this fasting protest. Only 2 to 3 of them were there. 90% of the organizations were in part of this, Mr. Sangma said in a video statement. The civil society groups that have been demanding a winter capital in Tura include ACHIK and GHSMC. Another meeting, again in the presence of all stakeholders, has been tentatively scheduled in Shillong August 8 or 9.
That took place today in Tura, outside the CM Secretariat and the Commissioner of Division's office, is indeed very, very unfortunate. We had discussed with 1 or 2 of the groups and NGOs who had concerns and were having fasting for the last many days. And while discussions were going on, we had already agreed on finally meeting in Shillong and discussing this further with all different stakeholders, because the concerns that they have are affecting many communities and affecting the overall state as a whole, and hence these kind of decisions require more consultation. And in the meantime, of course, other development aspects and other works that we have initiated, those would continue at a fast pace, and those matters were discussed. And more or less, these NGOs who had these concerns were more or less satisfied. And I also would like to stress that majority of the stakeholders, civil society and the NGOs were not part of this fasting that took place. There were just 2 organizations or maximum 3 organizations that were in this, but 90% of the organizations were not part of this. So even then, I felt it appropriate, and I've always believed that dialogue is important, and hence I made it a point to meet them. And that was what was decided. And so while we discussed everything, after the discussion was almost over, we heard some agitation and some sloganing from outside. And I asked some of the people to go and speak to the people and to their people and tell them to control and not to create any kind of scene out here. But once the leaders, the NGOs leaders had gone outside to talk to these people, they came back to tell us that they have no idea who these people are. They have never seen them here before. For the last 14 days since they have been here sitting and having this fasting, they didn't see these people, and today for the first time they've come, and some of them even looked intoxicated and not really in the correct senses in some sense.
Subscribe to One India channel and never miss an update.